Hi. Now, this is not going to be a motivational speech because A, I'm not a motivational speaker, and B, motivational speakers get paid well, and apparently TEDx doesn't pay. Now, so I'm a writer and director, and let's see how it all came around. Every parent dreams to know the dream of his child. कि मेरा बेटा क्या सोच रहा होगा. When my parents got to know about my dreams, they were not too excited. So I lived in a society in Warsaw, which is in Mumbai. We had a big playground. One day my parents overheard me telling my friend that my biggest dream is to create a graveyard in my playground, more specifically a Christian graveyard. At multiple levels, maybe my parents found it disturbing. And I don't necessarily blame them for not sharing my fascination towards the Christian, biblical, Roman sort of a culture. Now, psychiatric treatment in those days usually meant tying the patient down to a bed and electrocuting him. My parents opted for a simpler method. I still remember that day, that night, three things came home. One was a carom board. Second was not this fancy, this one, a more simpler chessboard. And third was a Rubiks Cube. Now, carom and chess require partners. I had none, so that left the poor little Rubik's Cubes in the hand of a 7-year-old who has the biggest dream, which is to create his playground into a graveyard, a Christian graveyard. Now, please don't look at me like that, because I just like the whole way in which the crosses used to be stacked with all those little lilies and flowers stacked. I had no idea what lay beneath, the 7-year-old, so you can forgive me. Next day, when my parents were leaving for office, my dad gave me the Rubik's Cube and told me that only the geniuses of the geniuses can solve this. Loving the odd challenge, I started at it, trying to stake my claim to genius. And I tried my level best, and I was just not able to do it. In the evening, when my parents came home, they saw the Rubik's Cube and it was solved. Absolutely. My dad was so very proud of me. He was so happy. My mom was also happy for the Christians in our society. But how was I able to crack it? How was I able to do it? Something like this. So I had scraped the stickers, stuck it on a wall, and then sort of put them together in the right place. That's not me. I was cuter than that. So that's how I had gotten it right. Now you think my dad didn't realize it? Of course he did. But did he call my bluff and snub me for cheating? No, he didn't. Did he wait in that foolish ambition that, yeah, one day I'll be able to get it right? No, he didn't, because for him I had already gotten it right. And this is something which he told me years later, that I had found an unconventional solution to a conventional problem. 9 out of 10 people would probably have done it the right way. But I had thought of something completely different. I had thought not out of the box, but out of the cube, is what he said. He thought, maybe I have a creative streak in me. Maybe I should be a painter or a writer. One day he saw me paint, and that is the day he decided I should be a writer. My school was changed, and I was put in a different school. We had no idea what was waiting for us. The school was heavily into academics, and by the time I reached my all-important 10th standard, the SSC board, we, as in me and 3-4 of my friends, Manish Rane, Archie Joshi, we had acquired the reputation of being the nasty boys of the school, because we just couldn't score the marks, and the school judged everyone and everything on the basis of the marks that you scored. We started feeling that the simplest of our pranks are being meted out with the harshest of punishments. And then we realized, or we thought that way, that maybe the school is trying to make examples out of us so that they can scare the more studious students into studying harder and getting more marks, to say that, see, if you don't study, this is what's going to happen to you. Things sort of started reaching a boil, and then came a day, a very unfortunate day, which I still regret in my life, where we did the unthinkable. In the short recess, we used to have 3 recesses. So in the short recess, 5 of us got together and vandalized the entire property in our class. The other students stood aghast and saw the carnage. We were going bizarre with violence. Of course, we were suspended. We were about to be rusticated from the school. But then an angelic teacher, our class teacher Shantapati, stood behind us and made sure that nothing of that sort happened. The damaged property was repaired. But I know at least one mind, one teenage mind, which was damaged for life. What do I say? It was a very chaotic time in all our lives. The students refused to talk to us, the rest of the students. They never used to even sit next to us and have their tiffins. The best memories of the kids, all when we have grown up now, are of their school. I had none. I felt let down by the very institution which was supposed to groom me. We were not even able to, or we were not allowed to attend our send-off function. It was a very, very traumatic time in our life. Now, when I look back at this trauma, I think it only helped me. I mean, as much as I regret the violence, I still think it helped me because as a 15-year-old, I discovered so many emotions that I didn't even know existed. I mean, things like love, friendship, bonds of brotherhood, betrayal, guilt, complexes, insecurity, so many things. And later on when I took up professional writing, all these emotions, all my exposure to these emotions definitely made its way into how I approached my characters and how I weave my stories. I mean, childhood trauma, growing up issues almost always find their way in your art. Why am I sharing this with you? Because I'm sure at every given point of time, or at some point of time in your lives, you must have felt not wanted. People must have questioned, why are you even here? They must have questioned your place in the society. They may have made you feel unwanted. You yourself may have questioned, why are you there in this world existing? But that's exactly why I want to tell you. The fire and the heat that you're experiencing at that moment, or at the most weakest point in your life, is the fire that is actually baking the dough. Fight the fire, no problem. Fight the fire, but live the fire. And trust the fire, because it is soon going to bake something very, very beautiful. And it all came around for me, just like I'm about to tell you. So after sort of just about getting out of school and not scoring the marks as predicted by my school, I started writing, took up writing, and was writing small snippets when I was in college in youth columns in the Times of India and the Indian Express and everything. And then I was able to secure admissions in the prestigious Film and Television Institute of India in script writing. Now, you know which was the first script that I wrote? The first script that I wrote ever in my life was about these 5 school kids who vandalized the school property, and they are about to be sacked, and a teacher comes and takes the responsibility to improve them. And as a teacher, and as a tribute to the woman who had stood by us, I named it Teacher. I'll probably be making it very soon. After that, I went to college. I took up direction as a career. Now, direction is a completely different aesthetic from films. It involves creating worlds. It involves creating the imaginary, imagining alternative realities. Now, even those roots I trace back to my school, because when I used to be sitting in the lectures and the teacher would be talking, which I obviously couldn't understand anything, I used to stare out of the window and stare into nothingness, creating my own world, which I knew it didn't exist. But I liked slipping into it. Now, after I graduated, my girlfriend had just left me. She had gone to Pune forever. I was heartbroken. I had nowhere to go. I hated this world. I hated everything that was around me. And I knew there were many like me. Not because all their girlfriends had gone to Pune, but for various reasons. I thought, why not do something about it? The year was 1999. Sounds a ring? The dot-com boom. I thought, why not create a world which is online, but where you can come into, where you can log into, and forget the problems of your real life. Where you can get married, you can have affairs, you can date, probably have all these 3 things at the same time. Party, have a career, excel in sport, perfect in art, be a celebrity, find true love. I mean, all the things that you don't do it in this world, you can do all that. I pitched that idea to an investor. The investor got very, very excited. After about 3-4 months, the investor got all the more excited, so much so that he kicked me out of the business and he took over. I was heartbroken, shattered, my confidence gone. I had nowhere to go again. Did I fight for my idea? No. Did I give up on my idea? Yes, I did. I went back to doing my MBA, and then the chronology followed up. The MBA and then the script writing and direction. All of that followed. But the real twist was about to come. The investor didn't have it in him to do anything about that idea. He just sat on it. Now, in about 3 to 4 years of that time, around 2003, a company in Silicon Valley called as Linden Labs unveiled their most ambitious project. Here it is. Supposed to be my idea. I could have done so much with it. But did I fight for it? No. I just gave up. A techie friend later told me that this idea, if it would have seen the light of the day, it would have been valued at a whooping $400 million. 400 million. All gone. Later on, this whole thing of creating worlds, that stayed with me, and I found my true calling, which is direction. And that is something I tell myself every day when I miss those $400 million. So, I just shared my personal experience with you, 2, 3 of them, just to show that sometimes celebrating, accepting, and then celebrating a bit of oddity in a child can help you discover his creativity, like my dad did. He did not snub me, he in fact celebrated my oddity. Going through trauma can almost become a crash course in you understanding your own emotions, getting in touch with them, and therefore that reflecting in your creativity. And when it all comes together, the most sure shot way of losing $400 million is to give up on your idea and not fight for it. That brings us to today's core topic, which is creativity, ideas, and innovation. Now, what is creativity? Creativity is, of course, what painters, writers, actors, sculptors, singers, musicians do. Is that creativity? No. Even doctors, engineers, MBAs, teachers, more so teachers, more than anyone teachers, what businessmen do, what firefighters do, what government officials can do, what cops do, all of them, what they can do is be creative. What they should do is be creative. Now, what is creativity? Creativity is knowing that what you are doing can be done better and can be done different. And when this creativity, expressed through a big idea, can lead us to innovation. Now, why are ideas important? I mean, I know this whole rhetoric about, a big idea can change your life and all that. But ideas do make this world a better place to live. And they are so contrary to facts. Facts is what is. Ideas is what can be. And many times, what should be. This whole thing about, the logical part, the irrational, the rational part of it, I don't completely agree with that. I'm talking about the irrational. I'm talking about the unreasonable. I know, I've been told that too many times that, we'll only believe if we see. Seeing is believing. That's the gospel that we live by. I'm talking about it the other way around. First, believe. And believe it in so much that the world will be able to see in concrete and in the finite what you have imagined, in the infinite and the abstract. And that, when you give it to the world, is innovation. Now, I want you to sort of have your minds together and come up with some of the greatest innovations that you have seen in the last 20 years. Anyone? Anyone?
Tesla.
Okay.
Robotics.
Okay. Okay. Hyperloop. Okay. Here's what I'm getting at. Tesla, maybe Hyperloop. I mean, you're just speeding it up, and that's where we come to the real problem. Now, I googled And if you see these things, most of these innovations have happened way back. None of them in the last 20 years. None of them. Why? Have we suddenly hit a creative block? Have we stopped being creative? Have we dumped down? I don't know. I call this the fine paper theorem. Now imagine a time when we used to write letters to people. Now, if we had the mindset that we have today, the writers, the thinkers of those times would have made paper, and they would have made better paper, and they would have come out with the best of inks, the most colorful of inks, and the most scented of inks, and it would have stopped at that. But it took one madman, one unreasonable man to say that, no, I'm going to talk to my cousin who's 10,000 miles away, right now, right here, and bingo, we have Alexander Graham Bell giving us the telephone. But what has happened of it today? We are making products which are just better versions of what we already have. We are not doing enough. I mean, look at our coordinates. We are from a Nokia to an iPhone. That's our range of invention. Can we do better? The last 20 years, trust me, we have sucked at everything. But the next 20 years, we will not, because you are all 18 minus. And you guys can be the change that I'm talking about. Very quickly, I'm going to tell you 2 secrets on how to do it. Gadgets. Now, what gadgets do is that they make impossible for you to be bored. And when you get bored, and when you don't grab a gadget, you start imagining scenarios. You start thinking of some stupid realities, something which doesn't exist. That is exactly what happens when you get bored. The internet, the gadget, makes it impossible for us to be bored. It makes it impossible for our mind to be empty. I know the empty mind is a devil's workshop, but it's the empty mind where most of the times the best of the ideas come. So the gadget has to be away. Please be bored. That is the key to unleashing your creativity. And second is empathy. I want you to quickly think of one person that you hate the most in your life. Oh yeah, everyone is ready. We have our hit list ready very soon. Now the exercise is, you have to think of reasons to not hate him. Mostly it's a him, so that's why I'm not saying a her. But can you do that? Now you know what that means. You are trying to create a world from that person's point of view when you decide to not hate the person that you are hating. You're trying to imagine scenarios as to why is that person doing what he is doing? What is his point of view? What is his worldview? What are his emotions? And when you are doing that, in the process, you are unleashing your creativity. You're imagining worlds, you're imagining scenarios, you're imagining possibilities. I mean, sometimes to be creative is to be more emphatic or empathetic towards someone. As stupid as it may sound, but by understanding what the other person's point of view is, you can become creative. That, to me, is the gist of what we are here today for. Empathy and being bored. Once you can do that, you can come out with the 2 big ideas or the 3 big ideas that can change the world. And those ideas better be unreasonable, they better be mad, and they better be not something which can sell, but something which you are just yearning to tell. They better be stupid. They better be impractical. Because in that impracticality lies the future of the world. And since you are here today, you are able to, you have privilege with you. With privilege comes a debt. The debt is to give the world something better than what you did not have when you came into this world. Thank you very much.